How are you doing? In terms of diversity in various aspects in a Japanese society, there are still so many problems left to be overcome in order to get close to the stance of global companies promoting their business worldwide. So, in the current situation, Japanese people understand the importance of acceptance of diversity of workers to generate new values and generate new ideas to enhance competitiveness in the international community superficially. And the Japanese government is now taking initiative to web Japanese companies as to make them accept the direction where they must create new values from diversity with a number of political measures and promotion of women's empowerment and employment of foreigners, foreign waivers, and invitation of foreign companies to Japan with low corporate tax, and the enforcement of these policies are mostly from the Japanese government's sense of crisis and sense of frustration that Japan can't maintain the current economy level with conventional Japanese outdated sense of value and the way of doing. However, there's a question about if Japanese people can truly understand acceptance of diversity from the bottom of their mind to want to change something and make a challenge to the next step by casting off the conventional way and conventional custom. So conservativeness and conservativeness that encourages nothing and no one to change is probably a symbol of peace for Japanese people, from my viewpoint. So challenge and change are probably disturbing factors that destroy and deprive us of peace and tranquility and happiness and permanent comfort zone. Permanent comfort zone brings us a peace and tranquility in our hearts. So Japanese people feel this way in the bottom of their heart, but nobody mentions this way. But everybody has this kind of has the feeling of fear against change or challenge with this kind of thoughts. So in recent years, we often hear the word of diversity everywhere, which means existing things with wide variety of characteristics in the same place. But needless to say, diversity defines the meaning that we accept diverse people by no influence of filter of discrimination related to gender, age, and religion and personal belief. And we generate innovative interpersonal synergy beyond our imagination from there. So the way of thinking about diversity started from proactive employment of minorities in the United States society. So, but now diversity is very important, indispensable factor to bring innovation, especially for a company that already targets the world market as their aiming market scope. So, but it cannot be said that Japanese companies essentially understand the meaning of acceptance of diversity in a Japanese society. So acceptance of diverse workers for Japanese companies means that accepting people with sense of values and the way of thinking that resonates with a corporate culture and corporate characteristic, even if they superficially overcome the problem of a woman's empowerment and foreign labor's employment in Japan. So there are actually as many provisos as it can become one of the employment contract terms, which we implicitly have to swallow. So these provisos are related to corporate culture and corporate characteristic. So it's like we will employ foreigners, but you must understand our culture. You must understand Japanese. You must speak Japanese. You must speak Japanese, and your character must be in harmony with our corporate culture, corporate characteristics. So that you must have the same sense of values that as we have. So it's like a Japanese companies want to hire foreigners whose appearance is a foreigner, but whose personalities is almost close to Japanese people, and who perfectly understand Japanese corporate culture and Japanese culture. So after all, Japanese companies fundamentally want to hire Japanese people with the same thoughts and same sense of values with the resonate with the Japanese corporate cultures, right? So for most of Japanese companies, diversity is just a keyword that obliges them to show superficial stance to appeal that they are focusing on diversity to the Japanese government, right? So of course there's also conservative companies in other countries that block job applicants and job seekers who don't resonate with corporate culture from employment. But the degree that a Japanese company fill the team post of a company with Japanese or foreigners who understand Japanese culture and Japanese companies' corporate culture 100% is extreme compared to that in other countries. So exclusiveness and conservativeness are very big factors that prevent Japanese economy from growing. And these factors are ingrained in our Japanese heart at genetic level. So Japanese companies basically prioritize looking for a person with the same sense of values and belief over a person raising extraordinary business results with minor sense of values that mostly people don't accept in the society. So even we Japanese job seekers take great pain to persuade HR person to hire us whenever we look for a job, because mostly we have to pretend to be a person with those in harmony with a corporate culture. So on the internet, there are thousands of fixed answers phrase for reply to questions from HR person during the interview that a company is likely to accept. So which means atmosphere in Japan makes us find it really natural that we have to show our stance that we are the person suitable for your corporate culture, as we pretend to be a person that a company seems to like by bottling up our real intention and real ourselves. You know what I mean? So when you put a keyword of interview in Japanese, mensetsu in Japanese on Google, and you just search it, the very first outstanding keyword that catch your eye on the search results on the Google is business manner. And thousands of Japanese websites appeal the importance of business manner that is hit by the keyword of mensetsu interview. So which means there are so many cases that superficial beauty of form, such as business manner, of which Japanese people share the importance, is very first step to appeal that you are the person who have the base to be familiar with the corporate culture of a company that you apply for. So, and Japanese companies also set the minimum standards in this kind of people's consensus, like job seekers who apply for a position of our company should behave themselves with a good business manner and good posture and good morale. In the meantime, Japanese companies come to strictly select a person who have their favorite character and sense of value, the way of thinking with superficial form of beauty, right? So when I was a university student, I was always told by a career counselor that a job interview already started at the time you came into the office, right? So which means HR person always look at you all the time while you are in the office, regardless of whenever you receive an interview from HR person. So Japanese companies are inclined to place more importance on personality of job applicants and job seekers that can be perceived by tiny habitual behaviors than applicants' ability and potential that they have cultivated through jobs and studies when they hire people. So because they don't want to make a room to paint another color to the wall that is perfectly dyed in one color. So wrong wording and not appropriate way of knocking the door and not appropriate way of bowing and bad tiny habitual behavior such as touch your back of your head or touching your back of your neck when you talk to someone can be the factors that company decide to move forward with their applications. So these are very boring, trivial thing that is not essential, which you don't have to care about, actually. But Japanese companies look applicants seriously with this stupid acceptance policies. So when you have an interview in a Japanese company, HR person is mostly looking for looking at your behaviors and attitudes rather than your achievements or business performance you've ever made in your life. So you probably understand why Japanese companies have low productivity on their business performance. So this is because they care too much about choosing applicants with the same sense of values that resonate with corporate culture, so that they end up releasing a chance to hire a person with a good ability, with great potential to grow business performance of a company. So Japanese companies' attitude that they only accept superficial diversity and they stick to choosing workers with the same sense of values is extremely far from the stance of putting right person in the right place. So from a wider perspective, Japanese companies want to hire people who do work as they are told by boss or headquarters. So in hierarchical communities such as company or organization, defining each worker's role and keeping the chain of command in the reporting line are very important as a matter of course. But global companies accept the independence of workers by giving them a certain discretion and the responsibility of the task that they are in charge of. But Japanese companies restrict workers with unreasonable superficial rules and don't give a workers discretion to make them move flexibly, as they can make the best of their potential in the territory that they are in charge of. So hiring people with the same sense of value is really convenient to increase a yes robot who just execute what they are told by boss or headquarters without having any questions about this. So in competitive society, accepting diversity is the most effective way to find a way out and to pave the way for a solution towards uncertainty by creating new values and creating new ideas that nobody realized yet. As Japanese people look challenge and change to uncertainty as not chance but a risk. So if Japanese companies have intention to keep staying in comfort zone, there's no problem with their exclusiveness against diversity, but they have to accept recession in economic growth with their exclusiveness to make matters worse, no Japanese people have this kind of have a question about this matter before thinking of how global diversity should be in the world.